And today I was listening to a wonderful talk by my spiritual master, Sri Swami Satchidananda. And he said, all this talk about being liberated, being free, being in samadhi, and in nirvana. He said, why would you want to do that so quickly? Because once you're there, you're no more. So take your time, enjoy the process. He said, it's really a brilliant talk, so if you can get on YouTube, do put it on. And he goes, that the idea of being in this world, and that's why we were created to be in this world, is to enjoy it in a sense where we're not caught up in it. But to watch it like a play, to be around it, in it, and not of it, because we are really not of it. But to totally separate yourself from the rest of the world, say, I really don't like the world, I'm going to run away from the world. You can't do that. Because that in itself is I don't like, it's a denial of the gift that you are given, which is life. So spiritual teaching is really, you just know who you are, that you are spirit, having this human experience. And while you are enjoying this human experience, and you can enjoy it when you can transcend both pleasure and pain. So that's the whole teaching of the Gita as well. It's about non-attachment. And non-attachment doesn't mean I don't want or I can't do and we shouldn't do. That's rigidity. There's no right or there's no wrong. Non-attachment means just understanding simply nothing belongs to any of us. Nothing. And we're here as a gift. We're here as a gift. So when you really feel the sense of non-attachment, what arises in you? What arises you? Because you lose the sense of, oh, it's all about me, that's attachment. Attachment to myself, I'm the most important thing. Non-attachment helps to see you beyond you. Beyond you. And actually when you get into non-attachment and seeing everything as divine, what happens is you become attached to unconditional love. There is still something that you're attached to, which is unconditional love. And this is why we search for it all our lives. But there is no way to find it except within yourself. Because, of course the world is there to teach us this. So people will let us down. Businesses will let us down. We'll be struck. Partnerships will let us down. Not because they want to let us down, for us to learn who we really are. That this attachment, my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, my home, one day it's all going to go. None of it's yours. And the whole teaching of the Gita is this. Because where do we struggle? When do we struggle? Paramahansa Yogananda said, very simply, don't worry about the battles outside. The greatest battle is victory over your own mind. And that's where you battle. And battles of the outside world come to us so that we can learn what's going on in our own minds, how to deal with these battles, how to transcend them, how to live through them, how not to drown through them. And here is the Bhagavad Gita is the biggest battle of all. There's a great saintly warrior forced to go into this battle, not because he wants to, because life brought it to him. As all of us, how many times have battles come to you in your life that you never expected? I didn't expect my wife or my husband to behave like this. I never expected this. I never expected that our business would crash and I would lose everything. I never expected this. I never expected that my teacher could do this to me and destroy me with jealousy. I never expected, right? These are battles that we face in everyday life. And spirituality is to be applied in our life. And that's why when I heard my guru speaking, I had such a great laugh this morning, giggling with him, because that's the truth. Liberation, he said, is simply learning that all these things are temporary. Because you are, in yourself, spirit and essence. But while you're here on this earth, don't give up so quickly. Have some fun in it. The battles will come to all of us till the day you die, even if you're enlightened, because it's the way it is. And you just watch people who are really enlightened can deal with all these problems. So it's not, if you're thinking of, I'm going to sit here for hours, I'm going to be, connect with the divine. Yes, you will have some inner awareness. Really, it is a beautiful practice, meditation, because it takes you deep into yourself. It takes you deep, deep into yourself. But the knowledge is there for you to use it while you're living, with the people you're around, with the life you're around, with the work you're around, to apply it. And then everything works. And then everything works. Then the magic happens, and the magic will happen. I guarantee you that. Anybody who has gone on this path has experienced this magic. And the more you have faith, the more you understand yourself, the closer you get to the divine within, because everybody is divine, we all come from the same source. The more you get closer to that space inside of you, the more you will see it. It really is a wonderful world. It's not horrific. I mean, the world, we have to have wars and we have to have all negative and positive, because without duality, there's nothing to do. There's nothing for you to do, right? If there were no opposites, there's nothing to do. What would we be doing with our lives? There's no challenges. If we would see that the Creator is really very interesting. Gave us a drama that is so interesting. And our problem is we got caught up in the drama and forgot that we are just but actors and actresses on this wonderful stage. And that's all we are. Now, how to act, how to be inspired, how to not let the material world drag us down to a place where we become horrible people and not happy people, and we hurt others, how to not allow this to happen. This is the science of spirit. And when we live in this kindness, this generosity, this love, this energy field, we really already are enlightened. Because it's so simple. This is such a simple truth. Somebody's going through a bad time. You talk to them, you help them, and you help them out of it. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Good, right? Somebody's going through a bad time. You shout at them and you scream at them. Can you get them out of it? How do you feel? It's quite simple, isn't it? And yet we always use the wrong medicine. People are like, come on, get on your feet. Can't you get on your feet? And they can't. They really don't know how to. And the more we tell them to get on their feet, or the more we shout at them, the more they retreat into this place and they become numb. But with love, you can heal anything. Because why? That for me is God. And when it's sincere, you can hear it. And you can see it. And you can see love shift things without even many words. In fact, you don't need many words when somebody is suffering and you just give them love. The words are not important. They can sense. They can sense your energy. They can sense it. Children are wonderful at sensing this. And we know this, when your child is sick and not well, or even if you don't have children, somebody you love, when you're not sick and somebody you love comes to see you, already you're half better. Isn't it true? Because you just see the person and you just feel, I'm better. It's just the way it is. So we just forget all these things when we grow up. And that's why I love these texts, because they come to remind us that even such great people like Arjuna has these battles. Who are we to complain? And this whole book tells us that we may think we are alone. We may think in our sorrow we are alone, but we are never alone. And that higher self in all of us in this particular text is described as Lord Krishna. Isn't it interesting, the name Krishna? Christ. The Christ in us, the inner energy in us, is described as Krishna. Because it's very difficult for human beings to see that we are part of this great plan called the self. This energy called the higher self. Which is a grain of sand in this huge image that's been created like a dream. In our Hindu scriptures we say Vishnu is sleeping and the world becomes awake. We are Lord Vishnu's dream. Just like we dream, we are Lord Vishnu's dream, and that's creation. Here Arjuna is going into battle, right? We talked about that. And he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight. And Lord Krishna reminds him, know who you are. And he goes, whatever is born will undoubtedly die. Whatever is dead will be born. You should not mourn over what is inevitable. We're all gonna die. But you know what? When you die, don't worry, because you have to be reborn again. Arjuna, beings originally are all unmanifested. At mid-state, they're manifested, and unmanifested again at the end. So what is the point of lamenting? He said, why are you so worried about this? Don't you know from the beginning, you were not manifested, which means you weren't your body. And that is so true. Who were you before you entered your body? Do you know? Who were you before you went into your mom's womb? Who were you? Who were you? Do you know? Don't know. And then you become manifested in the middle. You become who you are today, with your names, with your personality. All on borrowed. This is all borrowed. Even your personality is borrowed. And again, your body will stay here, and you'll be gone. Where will you go? You don't know. So why are you so worried about all this that is happening here now? The truth is, it's all going to pass. Everything is going to pass. Whether you like it or not, it's all going to pass. So don't get so serious. Don't get so serious. One may perceive the self as full of wonders. Another speaks of it as marvelous. Another hears it is wonderful. Yet none completely understand it. This self which exists in everyone, the spirit which exists in everyone, the indweller is invulnerable, Arjuna. Therefore, you do not have to grieve for anything or anyone. So, he's telling his student Arjuna now, remember who you are. This higher self, this divine energy, some people speak of it as a wonderful, fabulous, it's marvelous. We can hear the self, we can feel the self. This is the process of meditation and contemplation, which gets you to experience this, as all the great saints did. And all the great saints told us, all of them told us, that we can all do it. But we don't believe we can. That's our big problem. That's why I like to repeat these scriptures to you again and again and again and again, till one day it goes into your head that this divine self is within me. I just need to connect. I just need to connect. Fear stops me. You see, Arjuna's not connected because he's so fearful. He's so scared. He thinks, oh, I have to fight the war. Why has this war come to me? What is my... I don't want it. Da-da, complain, 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 complain. And he said, don't complain. Just look at the truth. It's part of life. This karma has come to you. So why are you crying? Just get on with it. And the only way you can get on with it is to know who you really are. Otherwise you can't. It's too difficult for the mind to do. When you have a battle and you have no spiritual background, it's very difficult. I've met many people like that. They go crazy, they think all day long, they judge themselves, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. And what happens is it's a crazy war. I've been into homes where I see hell, and I go, how do you live life like this in hell? Come, can I show you what heaven looks like? Because you can do it, you can change it, you can walk out of hell and decide, I want to live in heaven. And this is exactly what Krishna is telling Arjuna. You don't have to. Yes, a hellish situation has come to you. It's hellish. But you can see it from a point of heaven. Let me turn it around and show you how. If you understand that this strength, this self, this thing is, this, whatever you want to call the self, doesn't matter what you call it, is inside you, then you can draw power from it. You can draw power from it. I've explained this many times. It's kind of like a power station. If we put on the light switch, the bulb will go on, right? The bulb is just the instrument. We're just the instrument. And the bulb, it's just part of that electricity, but it's got it from the power station. Do you see what I'm saying? So if we know how to turn on that switch, we know how to connect with the power station. So even if we can't do it as a human personality, when you connect, you get the energy. When you live in this vibration, things that you think you can't do, suddenly you can do. And I was surprised, like myself, for example, I was so scared, like I said, I was a spoiled kid, see a cockroach scream, see, bugs scream. And now I've got a bug catcher, and this morning I tried to catch a bug in my tub, in my hands. I couldn't do that. What happened? Something happened through the process of this practice that made me realize the bug and me are one. Okay, it's on a lower vibration level, poor thing. And I wish it when they die. I go, I wish you have a nice, next life would be a human life. Because energy, it's just energy. It's just energy. Energy changes from one form to another form, to another form, to another form. We never die. That's why it's so important how you think. Because at the moment of death, how you think will determine your next life. So if you are like meditating, happy, joyful, it comes time for you to die, and you accept your death readily, and you think beautiful thoughts, guess what? That's where you will go. And this is what we need to prepare for, this life. You can't do it at the end, because at the end, when you get sick, you will have no energy to do the work. You have to do it before. Because once you get depressed and sick and fearful, the mind cannot do it. It just cannot do it. And then you start thinking horrible things. I'm thinking of pain and thinking of, oh my God, I really want this and I can't have it. I don't want to die, and there's so much fear. And that's where you will go, to a world of fear. Because as you think, it becomes. It becomes. Our thoughts are amazing things, So that's why if we change our thoughts to joy and laughter, what will come? Joy and laughter. Not easy to do. That's why, we keep studying and studying and studying, because we've been brought up with so much nonsense. You have to be like this to be happy. You have to have millions in order to be happy. And people who have millions tell me they're not happy. You have to have a talent. You have to be famous. How many famous people have committed suicide that I've known in my life? I love Whitney Houston, but what a miserable life. What a gift. What a voice. And how did she die? Michael Jackson, so brilliant. How many cases did he have to go through? Was he happy? How many plastic surgeries? Do you know what I'm saying? So we have to learn it's not that makes us happy. It's what's internally inside of us that makes us happy, and nobody can give you that happiness. Please understand this. It doesn't matter what you do in life. Money is just an energy. It's just a beautiful energy. And if you can roll it and you can share it and you can use it, it's the best gift in the world. But don't fear it and don't hold on to it. It comes, great. It goes, great. Learn to live with it all. So anyway, let's go back to the self. Furthermore, he's telling Arjuna, looking at your own duty, you will see no reason to waver. For certainly there is nothing higher for a Kshatriya than a righteous war. So here he is saying, furthermore, look at your own duty. And this is really, for me, this is really, really important. Look at where you were born. Look at your own personality. Look at the gifts you have been given. That nobody else has your gifts. We're all individuals. We're all individuals. There's no copies here. Isn't that amazing? There are no copies here. So instead of spending your time wanting to be somebody else, because you see, Arjuna is saying, I want to run away, I want to go to the mountains, and I want to retreat, and I don't want to fight this war. And actually, it's Krishna, the highest self, saying, no, you have to do this. Why? Because look at who you were born as. You were born as a warrior, one of the best warriors there ever was. So what does a warrior do? Protect the nation. Now, this war didn't come to you, this war came to you. You didn't instigate the war. And this war has come to you because you need to right the wrong. Your enemies want to hurt and lie and cheat. If you don't put what's right, who will? Who will? So he says, furthermore, this is your duty. You were born a warrior. So I wasn't born a warrior, thank God for that. Do you see, what were you born? You were born to make people feel great in themselves, right? So do it with such passion and such love, and you do. And you always offer things to charity. So do you see, you live that perfect life that you were born to do, not somebody else's life. And that's what you have to look at yourself. Who am I? What am I? What was I? What gifts was I born with? And use them to the best of your ability. Most of the time I see people trying to have gifts that other people have. And wasting a lot of time in your life doing that. Because you'll never be the other person. Never. You can try and try and try and try to be something else. You can never be somebody else. Instead, use your time to build you up. What are you good at? What are your strong points? Study yourself. Learn who you are and what you want, what you really want. See clearly in your mind. You will know by your intelligence, by your gifts. Your gifts will tell you a lot about you. And if you are not using your gifts, shame on you. What a waste of a life. Why you want to waste a whole lifetime waiting to do these little things that you love to do? Do them if you like them. What harm does it cause? Not everybody can sit and meditate, but everybody can learn to be happy. And that's the step. Once they get a little happy in themselves, then they want to learn more. They want to learn more. They want more. They want more. But not everybody can go from a very material life to, I have to meditate. I can't do it. The mind can't do it. Do you see? Slow steps, slow steps, slow steps. When they can see, they can be happy. We want everybody to get there right away. It's not possible. It's too much for people. Sometimes too quick, the spiritual growth is quite scary for people. Slow and steady wins the race. Anyway, when you're ready, it's going to happen to you whether you like it or not. It's nothing we can control. And then he says, happy indeed is the Kshatriya. So what does the word Kshatriya mean? Kshatriya means warrior. Arjuna, called to fight in such a battle that comes of itself like an open gate to heaven. So this war is not bad. You're fighting for that which is good. So, and it actually opens your gate to be happy again. Heaven is to be happy on earth. But if you don't fight when it's your duty to do so, you'll lose your honor and incur sin. People will continually recall your shame, and for the one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. The great charioteers will suppose you withdrew from battle out of fear. Those who thought so highly of you will take you lightly, and your enemies will deride your strengths and slander you. What could be more painful? You see, when we are cowards, in fact, what he's trying to say, don't be a coward. You were born as a warrior. This is your duty. Do it. Sort it out. Fight for righteousness. Because if you don't, look at the alternative. Look at the alternative. When you don't do your duty, when you don't fight for what you believe in, you really believe in something, you don't fight for it, or you don't, you don't fight for it. What happens? And I have many cases like this too in our life, where I have seen battered men and women in relationships. And what I see is when one partner is battered or insulted and screamed at all day long, and the other one doesn't fight for themselves, the children lose respect for both parents. You know, I have kids coming from really the poor mothers that have been beaten and fathers who've been screamed at nonstop, and they get angry at the person that screamed at, not the one who's inflicted the anger. You know what they tell me? Why didn't she stand up for us? Why didn't she fight for us? Why didn't she say no? Or why did he keep her quiet when she was yelling like that, when she beat me up? The kids, you know? Why did my father just sit there and watch? Oh, that's mom. Oh, I'm just telling you the stories I've seen. So, you know, they get so angry deep inside, and they carry this anger till they were old. You know, when they come to my office, they're so angry, and yet they feel so sorry for the mother at the same time. You know, I had somebody like that just the other day. He felt so sorry for his mother, but he was so angry with her, but he didn't know how to express it, so his whole body broke up in rheumatoid arthritis. Too young, and he can't move. What do you think? Internal anger, confused. So what happens when you're so confused, you're so trapped? Next step, I want to die. I want to die. Because don't come to terms with your life. You need to work things out. So I told him, you need to forgive your mom, but you have to accept, yes, she was a weak woman, and you need to forgive her. She didn't know better. But we have to work through it. You have to work through it to get rid of this inner anger. The moment I told him that inner anger, he burst out crying. So I never cry. I said, good, please cry more. You need all this coming out. That's why you want to die. It's all stuck. It's like yucks, you know? So anyway, so you're getting how spirituality has to be applied in your own life. It's not just read in books. This happens all the time. So he says, if you don't do your duty, shameful. You need to do what's your duty. And people, your enemies, they'll be so happy that you're not doing your duty, so they'll insult you and bring your name down. And people who trusted you and thought you would protect them and looked after them, they will not respect you anymore. So he goes, if you are killed, you will gain heaven. If you are victorious, you will enjoy the earth. Therefore, Arjuna, rise up. Either way you win. Either way you win. Seeing the same in pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat in battle, just for the sake of the battle, then you will be sinless. Now, this is the deepest teachings. These are the deepest teachings. When you can learn to see that life, we have pain. In life, we have pleasure. In life, sometimes we are victorious. In life, sometimes we are defeated. You know the story of the two wolves? Should I tell it again? That's the inner battle. And this is actually an external version of what goes on inside of us. the grandfather is telling the grandchildren some story, and he goes, grandchildren, did you know that in your mind there lives 2 wolves? Really, Granddad? And do you know that they battle each other all the time? They keep fighting each other. Really, Granddad? Why do they fight? Well, one wolf is kind, generous, loving, caring, compassionate, and the other wolf is jealous, greedy, angry, avaricious. And so, Granddad, who wins the battle? The one you feed most. And that's what he's telling him. He's feeding Arjuna the fear, right? I don't want to fight. I'm scared. I want to do it. I can't do it. So he's making all kinds of excuses. We're not supposed to fight, so I'll be very spiritual. I'll run away to the mountains and meditate and won't face my duty. I don't want to do my duty. And the other wolf is saying, but you're born a warrior. The people are depending on you. If you don't protect them, who's going to protect them? It's like a policeman. If somebody is like about to kill somebody and the policeman just watches and allows them to kill somebody without doing anything, you won't feel protected, would you? So it's the same kind of thing. So he's saying, your duty is like a policeman for these people. If you say you don't want to fight, you got just too involved, you're not doing your duty. So that's Arjuna's inner battle. So here he's saying, feed your good wolf. Why are you fighting? You're fighting to protect. You're fighting to feed the good wolf. You have compassion for all the people that have been hurt and done wrong to. And so feed that good wolf. And don't feed that wolf that's fearful and coward and I don't want to do it, let these people get away. They're just excuses. Okay? So that's basically what he's showing Arjuna. And he says, you have been given the ideal of self-knowledge. Now hear the practical wisdom of yoga, by which, Arjuna, you can break through any bonds of karma. He said, well, now I've told you, I've explained to you who you really are. That's self-knowledge, knowledge of the self. You're really, not this body. The body's here temporarily. You're really not this mind. It's here when your body is here. So I've given you this knowledge, but having this knowledge alone is not enough. You must listen to the practical wisdom. You see, many people have spiritual knowledge, but if you don't live it practically, it's of no avail, is it? So what's the point of talking about, I practice ahimsa and then go and hurt 40 people? In these practices, no effort made is lost, nor are there adverse effects. Even a little practice of this Dharma protects one from great fear. So what's he asking us to practice? What has he told us before? Who are you?
To be brave. To be brave.
Pardon?
To be brave.
Be brave, yeah. Be brave.
Follow Dharma.
What?
Our talent.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Great, thank you. Be yourself. But yes, be yourself.
Find out who you are.
Pardon?
Find out who you are.
Great, who am I? And know that you are
Spirit.
correct. That's the practice. It's very hard for us in a human body to understand that we talk about the soul, we talk about the spirit, but it's very hard for us to really believe it, right? Contemplation. Even a little contemplation, even just a little contemplation. Sit in your room, look in the mirror, look in your eyes. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I really? How long am I going to be on this earth for? Why am I suffering so much? Who is making me suffer but my own mind? Nobody else is making me suffer. It's my thoughts that make me suffer. Even a little contemplation like this, he says, will never go to waste. No effort you make is loss. And there are no side effects. No side effects. You're depressed, you take a tablet, there's a lot of side effects. A lot of side effects. You're depressed, you do a bit of this dharma, thinking, contemplation. There are no side effects that will help you. The highest knowledge will help you. So most people, when they're depressed, they say, I'm depressed. I'm wrong thinking. Do you see? Who am I? Who is it that's depressed? Why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel depressed? What's happening in my mind? What are my thought patterns that are making me depressed? And in the next sloka, Krishna explains, if your mind is unsteady and wandering, many branched and endless other thoughts and choices, when your mind is clear and one-pointed, there is only one decision. And I think for me, this is one of my greatest benefits from the practice of yoga. And most people I know who have been practicing yoga for a long time have mentioned, Nalanie, it is so nice for me now that I can make a decision clearly. In the past, many branch and unsteady. Should I? Shouldn't I? But what if? And what if I do this and that would happen? And what if? And what if tomorrow, if I did that, tomorrow that would happen? But in the past, this and happened, so in the future, do you see so many thoughts that you can't make a clear decision? He says, but if your mind is clear and steady, very quick to make decisions. You don't waste time in your life. You're not going to say, should I fight? Shouldn't I fight? Spend 10 years on a lawsuit. Halfway, yes, waste 10 years of your life. The lawyers get paid and everybody else is lost. You make quick decisions. Is it worth it? Isn't it worth it? Okay, cut the losses now. I'll be, 20% poorer, but I'll actually be 50% richer, because by the time we pay all the lawyers' fees, that's how much poorer I would be. It's just not getting emotional, your fault, my fault. I see that a lot in divorces. That's why I'm saying this. I go, if you didn't waste so much time, just make an agreement. Both of you would be richer. Now, the only person that's making all the money is the lawyers. I have a family in Hong Kong now that I know recently, and it's not stopping. And they've already spent €1 million on lawyers in 2 years. What a waste of money, when they could easily agree. One party is very happy to give 50%, but the other party wants 70%. So, do you know, it's so crazy. So for greed, in the end, all the money is going to go from both sides. But this is the unsteady mind, This is the person that's fighting with someone who's unsteady. What if I don't have a job tomorrow? And what if da-da-da. So unsteady, going all over the place. So much so that she's lost 3 lawyers, now onto the 4th lawyer, because nobody wants to work with her. Too unsteady. He's being reasonable. Why don't you accept it? No, because maybe unsteady mind. So watch that mind when it's unsteady. And this is why we do the practice of what we call dharana, concentration, which is focusing on one object. Steady your mind. That's why we do mantra chanting as well. Keep the mind steady. When it goes all over the place, you just close your eyes, you take a deep breath and go, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. And if you believe in a master, you can look at a master. If you don't, just light a candle and think that light's in me, that power's in me. This too shall pass. My mind is just going everywhere at the moment. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, or whichever mantra. My mind is just going crazy, but I can keep still. And just by this practice, day after day after day, even for 5 minutes, at the end of the week, you will be a different person. Already be a different person. But nobody can do the practice for you. I can talk about it, but I can't do it for you. You see, this is why it's so important you do this practice. This is what he's saying. This is the practical wisdom. And if you practice every day, you get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you like yourself more. You just like yourself more. It says, God, love thy neighbor as thyself. How can you love your neighbor if you cannot love yourself, right? So you need to love and respect yourself first. And that's our job. We need to love and respect ourselves first. And we need to forgive all the horrible things we've done in the past first. And things that people have done to us. That's the first step. Let it all go. Forgive it. It's hard. It may take years to do this. So start the work now. See, my goal is peace. And I'm going to enjoy it while I'm alive. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to bring heaven to earth. Because I can. If my mind is steady. If my mind is steady. So that's the work. That's the practical wisdom, all right? Keep that mind steady. And if you find, oh, what's going to happen? You feel the mind escalating? Bring it right back. And if you can't get help immediately, ask somebody you trust, a good friend, call me, whatever. Text, hi, I'm in trouble. Come. If you're in trouble, just come. Because it is quick to fix when you get it like this. Or call a good friend. You know, now I know some of you are such good friends, and it makes my heart so happy to hear, you know, that you all support each other. That is what Sangha is about. They're the best friends you can have, because our battle is so hard deep within inside of us. It's not the external battle. And it's really nice if you have a good friend to say, it's okay. You can do it. I'm by your side. This too will pass. You can do it. No, you are divine. No, you forgive, let go. Those are the kind of friends you want. Not fight another battle and blame this one and blame that. You don't want that. It's just more wars and more vicious circles. You don't want any more vicious circles. They just bring pain. You need to stop those cycles. So look for support from higher thinking, people's higher thinking, people who can lift you up at difficult times, all right? But get help. Always get help. Because you will live a better life. I always say it's a very intelligent person who knows how to ask. And you know, if you can't, and if you're really sincere, I'll tell you one thing. Because in my early years of practice, there was no yoga teachers near me. So before, I didn't know I was going to be a teacher myself. I'm not. I'm actually a student still. But there was nobody near me. And sometimes I would feel so lost on this path. And I would just pray, help. I'd always get the answer. I turn on the TV and there was my answer. There's a program exactly with the problem I had and how to solve it. Oh, God speaks to me through the television. And my favorite book at that time was Golden Present by Swami Satchidananda. I don't know if we have any more copies here. It's a daily reading book. And every time I had a problem, I'd open that book. Just open it and there would be the answer. It's just incredible. And the other day, my partner Les had a really serious question that he was contemplating in meditation. And he came out of meditation glowing. And I go, what's happened? And he goes, I asked the question in meditation. I opened the Golden Present. And the answer was wow. It was, he showed it to me. Oh my God. I go, it couldn't be more clear. So he was so happy. It was he got his answer 2 minutes later. So, and that's what happened to me in the early days. I just got my answer from different things. And then, I would call my master once a month. And tell him, Gurudev, da-da-da-da-da-da, and I got my answer and he goes, that's what. Now you're practicing. Now you are seeing that the universe is answering you. You don't really physically need me there. The faith you have in me is bringing up the faith in you. That's all it does. My faith in him brought up the faith in me. It lit me up. And he would go, that's what, keep going. And then when I got it all wrong, he'd hang the phone down on me. You should know better. And then I got the lesson immediately. Because he was a great teacher. I knew I was being childish and ridiculous and silly. I need to change that. So it was really quick learning. So when you contemplate and you don't judge, you just watch. And then when I did something wrong, I just say sorry. That's another thing. Egos, we don't like to say sorry when we hurt someone. And those days I did do things that were hurtful. So immediately I saw that. I go, I'm sorry I was hurtful. I'm sorry I did that. Whew, freedom. And why didn't I learn to say it earlier? Why didn't I just say it? What stopped me from saying that? Ego. Do you see? So it's so important to have a steady mind. So important. So do the practice. That's the practical wisdom. All right? That is how you do it. And then here it goes. In flowery discourses, the unwise focus on the letter of the scripture and say there is nothing else. Now, we've all seen this with different religions and different teachings. Religions. What happens? In flowery discourse, the unwise focus on the letter of the scripture and say there is nothing else. So they look at the scripture, they read it, and that's the law. That becomes law. Oh, if you do this, you're going to go to hell, for example. Many people were brought up like that. And that was the law. And it brought fear into so many people. So many people turned away from this energy called God because they were told, if you do this, you're bad and you're going to go to hell. That was all the letter of their own scriptures that they had created. Man had written most of this, And so they only focus on the external words and not the depths of the words. And yet they use really nice words and, I tell you, you have to do this, the kingdom of heaven. If you want to go there, you have to be born again, And that's all letter of the scripture without really going in depth. Because there's much more, much, much more than the letter of the scripture. And he goes, with minds full of desires and heaven as their highest goal, they speak mostly of rites and rituals which they believe will bring pleasure and power. Those deeply attached to pleasures and powers are not able to fix their minds one-pointed in meditation and enjoy super consciousness. So he's saying you get these people who give flowery discourses and they tell you what to do, etc. But they're more concerned about becoming famous or power, getting the power. And he said, watch for that downfall. Watch for it. Because power and pleasure are not going to help you to understand who you are. Bless you. Bless you. Those deeply, so he's saying, be careful. Don't watch out for those people who are after power, because it's not going to get you there, or pleasures, it's not going to get you there. It just doesn't. And I'm sure many of you saw the documentary Wild Wild Country. Did any of you see it about Rajneesh? Yeah. It's on Netflix. Did you see it? Yeah, watch it because it shows you how such a pure soul just changed because of power, or the disciples did, and pleasures, because they were all about pleasures without thought. It just doesn't get you there. It can't get you there. And yet his teachings were beautiful. So how did it go so wrong? Got attached to power and pleasures. And this is what he's saying. Watch out why you're doing what you're doing. And that's why I always tell all our students, make your goal really clear. What do you want? Thank you. That was so clear. Can you say it again? What do you want?
Peace.
Yeah. If you have peace, it means you have everything, doesn't it? If you have peace, you already have all the power you want. You already have everything you need. So there's nothing that you need. You are content. So search for that peace. And here he says, the Vedas discuss the three gunas, Arjuna. Transcend the three gunas and you will be free of pain of the pairs of opposites. Ever balanced, free of wanting to get or keep anything, and centered in your true self. Now the three gunas is really quite a complex topic, so we don't have time to go into it today. But maybe one day we can just do the gunas on its own as a separate talk. The gunas really are everything on this earth is run by three separate energies. And we call these energies gunas. It's kind of like you have the atom, proton, neutron, and electron. Positive, negative, and balanced. Everything in nature is the same, including ourselves. We fluctuate through three different moods. So sometimes we're tamasic, which means we're apathetic, we're lazy, we're not interested in life, we're down. Sometimes we're rajasic, where we, want to do business and do things because we want people to like us and want personal pleasure. And sometimes the aim is to be sattvic, which is balanced as much as we can. And here, he's just saying, these are the three states of energies that all nature goes through, including ourselves. So, when you learn to be centered in the self, what does the self mean? The ever-pervading energy. So, sattvic, we try to be sattvic most of the time, balanced. But here he's saying, even being attached to being in balance can be a problem. And I've seen that people who have been really peaceful, maybe meditating for some time, and they've been in peace for 2 or 3 years, and something happens, and peace is lost. Oh, I want back the peace. They get really scared. And I go, no, you have to transcend it. It's just part of the game. You've gone through a dip, you've fallen from ground game, normal. Sri Patanjali tells us it's normal. Don't allow the dip. Don't allow the desire to feel peace so balanced to get to you. So ultimately, you have to transcend all the different states of mind. And that's hard to do. But in time, you will understand it. It's hard to understand it. But when you practice it, and when life shows you hard times, right? And you fall, and then you get stronger and stronger, and something bad happens to you next time, and you go, wow, I really handled that really well. That shows that you've transcended those 3 states, all right? Because you didn't let them affect you. You stayed steady. My master used to compare it to, the scales they have for Libra? Mm-hmm. And he would say, that's where you want to be, in a state of neutrality. And if the scales go up and down, remember you are the center pole. Just stay at the center pole. Let the wings go up and down, but you stay centered. And that's what I always imagine when the mind is going crazy. I go, my mind is going crazy, but I am still. The self is still. And then after a while, the mind comes back, because I'm in charge now of the mind. The mind is not in charge of me. You get it? So here he's saying, that is the ultimate goal. For those already enlightened, the scriptures are as useful as the water reservoir during a flood. In other words, if you know this truth, you don't need any scriptures. Just live it. You don't need any books. You don't need to learn anything else. If you really understand this truth, drop all the scriptures. You become a scripture. Because you can actually live higher than the letter or the word that is written by anybody else. The book cannot do it, but you can do it. And what happens to many people is they actually elevate, then they get a little scared that they have got so close to the divine. They actually become scared of it. Oh no, does the book say it? Does the book say it? Nalanie, did I get it right? I say, don't look at the book. It happened to me. I was studying about chakras and mantras and all this, and one school said that this was the way to do it, and another book school said that was the way to do it. I got so confused. I remember calling my guru, and Gurudev, which one is it? And he goes, Nalanie, drop all the books now. You don't need them anymore. Don't read for 6 months. Just experience what you have been practicing. By keeping on and on and on, you keep confusing yourself. More and more books, more and more different ways of saying the same thing. Everybody's going to say it differently. Get to the truth and stick to it and work on it. And that's what I did, and it was the best advice ever. It was the best advice ever, because now I had all this knowledge, right? You have it. You have the knowledge. All of you in this room have this knowledge. So what you do is you sit with it and work with it. When you're confused, that's when you consult the scriptures. Read like a sloka, read 2 slokas if you're not sure of it, and then contemplate. You will see so much depth in these slokas. As you grow, you start to understand them more and more and more. Got it?